So welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. And I really hope that you get a great deal from our time together. Now, if you're joining us a bit late, please make sure you put yourself on mute. And also just remember that when you are here with us, that this is a beautiful sacred space where we can discuss, where we can explore, where we can pretty much open the world of our inner possibilities and bring them into greater reality. And that is what I intend for today. So this recording will come to you and you can watch it as much as you like. And when you are in that zone of being able to come back to this, it's not just for now, it's not just for when you're receiving this live. This could be something you could tap into throughout the year ahead. So what's really important is that you sit back, you relax, you enjoy, and just embrace what's coming your way. So haven't we had the most astounding couple of years? And as we're leaving 2021, it's really important to remember that we don't want to wish time away, but we do want to make sure that we can harness the energy of a new year in a way that really brings us into that place of centeredness and focus and clarity. So as we go into all that 2022 can offer, my aim for us today is to give you the opportunity to get that sense of control. Open yourself up to the world of possibilities that you can manage and embrace as you go further into all that the coming years got to offer, and give you tools and tips and techniques to be stronger, to be more courageous, to be more resilient, and ultimately to have the best possible year ahead as we venture forth towards new horizons. So here we have a look at what we're going to cover. So we're going to first of all look at the numerology. What do the numbers of 2022 have to say for us that we can take further forward and give ourselves the opportunity to harness that energy? We're going to look at what hope really is and what it's not. So you've got a really clear understanding of what is meaningful and how you can draw on this energy. We're going to look at how hope and your health are intertwined. And it's amazing because you wouldn't necessarily think that they are, but energetically, hope, as you will see, can determine all aspects of your life experience. We're going to look at your year of hope. I want to give you stepping stones, prompts, tips, tools, and techniques to actually help you be the master of your mindset, the master of your moments as you go through 2022. And in fact, as you leave 2021, so that you're ready with that launch pad for next year. Throughout our time together here, we'll stop for questions and answers. So as I said before, pop your hand up and Kate will let me know, and I will see that you've popped your hand up, or pop a question in the chat and Kate will come make sure I get to answer that for you. I won't be answering anything directly in the chat though. So for those of you who I've not seen for a while, or for those of you who I've hung around with for a while, I just want to tell you a little bit about who am I. And basically, what you see here in terms of images is me. Water, rocks, trees, and the sky. That is what makes me happy, and it's who I am at my core. Born British, but brought up Canadian, I have that can-do pioneering attitude, which I suppose answers a lot for how I keep moving and motivating myself and overcoming hurdles and challenges in life. I was given the name Anna-Louise, and that is what I go by. And the thing is, with having those two names from a spiritual symbology, soul, self connection, it gives me the dynamism of two individuals joined together. And I do think I've lived probably 2 whole lifetimes in one lifetime so far. Now, The high school I went to in Canada had a motto, and that was ex obscuriat ad luceam. And what that means is out of darkness toward light. And, you know, who knew it at the time when you're in your teens, when you're in high school, who knew how prophetic that would be? But that certainly has been the direction of my life, coming out of my own personal challenges, but also the purpose and calling I live by every day and the work I do. And in terms of the work I do, I actually don't consider it work. You know, they say that if you find what you love doing, you never work another day in your life. And I was lucky at 27 to take a courageous step, drop the sales job and embrace where my heart wanted me to go. And I became a complementary therapist and ultimately a teacher, a principal of complementary therapies, of a complementary therapy school, created my own school, created a therapy, written 3 books, and I now pour everything I am and everything I've experienced along my awakening journey to authenticity and ascension into my programs, my retreats, and everything I do that delivers that soul self source connection in bite-sized pieces and in ways that are easily assimilated into your own onward journey. So that's a bit about me. Like I say, the accent's Canadian. Don't get hung up on that. So let's look at what the numbers say. So 2022, quite a powerful opportunity to tune into what energy is underpinning the year ahead. The number 20, which of course is governing this whole 100 years that we've got in front of us, that started 22 years ago, is one that represents opposing forces trying to find common ground. So for this whole century, this is what the deeper underpinning energy is all about. And if you look back over the last 20 odd years, you may well be able to spot the subtle trends which are trying to give us this sense of harmony, where we become more socially conscious and where we can explore who we are and what we've got going on in our lives. So that's kind of one level of underpinning energy that for the rest of your lifetime will be working to harmonize itself. The number 22 is a master builder. That's what its energy is all about. It's about creating a solid base, a new structure. So as we go into 2022, what's happening is this new normal that people have been talking about is starting to find its solid base, that things that needed to change will start to settle into the way they need to be from an awakening ascension perspective. So yes, that does mean hold on, buckle up. There could be some big changes coming. However, when we finish today, I hope you realize that there are ways not to get caught up in the drama of headlines, that you can ride through whatever comes your way with greater resilience, greater confidence, and courage when you need it, to hold the energy of hope as your torch, which guides you through. We're all in this together. And so you've got a connection already with the people that are here, with the people who would be interested in this kind of topic, and with me, to actually know that you're never alone. But let's look a bit deeper. 2022, as I say, is a year of finding a new way forward, building new foundations. To do that, we need to learn from the recent past and take ownership of your life direction, of what that means to you. You can't do stuff for other people or talk about what should be happening and criticizing and so on, or getting over concerned if you're not dealing with what needs to be attended to within yourself. So let's look at what the numbers mean for you. In numerology, 2022 adds up to a 6. The number 6 is all about relationships. And when we look at the relationships, we're looking at relationship with your nearest and dearest. We're looking at the relationship with yourself. and we're looking at your relationship with the outside world and the ever increasing layers of people in your life. And when you are in that reflective and perspective place, then you are able to start to put yourself in a place of being in your heart center. So 2022 is about embracing and embodying your heart energy. It's about unconditional love for yourself first. And that means looking at your work-life balance. It means looking at how you feed yourself, how you clothe yourself, how you go about your lifestyle. It's about understanding that when you consider yourself as this gorgeous, beautiful being, you are self-honoring. And by self-honoring, you are making sure that you are topping up all your needs so that you can give more to other people. So you're not being selfish, you're actually being very wise when you are self-honoring. Next year, the energy of compassion and empathy is going to rise more to the forefront. There's lots of things going on in the world right now which call us to be in that place of awareness of how humanity is moving forward or trying to break from some of the old patterns. And so when you are going about your day, give yourself the opportunity to tune into your compassion, to find ways of being more empathic, and knowing that that doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice all your time and energy. It means having good boundaries, but at the same time being aware of others' needs and empowering them to serve themselves and to be responsible for themselves so they learn and grow and become more confident in themselves. And the energy of the number 6, because it's heart-centered, brings a warm light, which is a beacon of hope. It basically gives us that sense of connection and wholeness. So as you grow through all of the opportunities that 2022 can give you, you are actually embracing them with willingness, trust, hope, and mindfulness. So because 2022 is such a powerful year based on birthing the new self and being in the heart space, the energy that we're looking at starts in the sacral chakra. It starts with the energy of creativity. And that energy is all about opening yourself to what you can create and birth through yourself. You see, when we apply the energy of hope to something, what we are doing is we are speculating and activating the potential of what we can grow and deliver through ourselves. That begins in the sacral chakra. And when we focus on what we can create and then activate it through the energy of hope, then what happens is that energy starts to accumulate and it rises up into your heart centers. And from there, the energy of creativity and new birthing and new opportunities is empowered by the energy of love and the energy of the heart. And from there, new wonderful things can be born. So pay attention to how you feel your energies are flowing as you enter 2022. Pay attention to what is calling your direction. And maybe you'll find that something new is waiting to be birthed. Oop, there we go. Oh, sorry. So let's take a look. Where did hope begin? Well, long before Pandora opened her box and released all the evils into the world, ancient traditions used hope as their survival tool. And if you think about it, going back to the earliest civilizations, whether they had a word for it or not, whether it was spoken or not, hope will have been the guiding energy. Something new was being learned to help civilizations endure, to help organization and community become whole and successful. And so hope is possibly one of the deepest ingrained energies and emotions that we all share, no matter who we are, no matter where we come from, no matter what we've experienced. Hope coupled with love, I believe, are the global energies which we all are united by. Now, Pandora gave us a bit of a truth. You may know the story. Pandora was the first female human that the Greek gods recognized. And as the fable goes, she opened her box, which actually was a jar in the original fable. She opened her vessel, and out of it flew all the evils that would ever infest humanity. And instantly realizing how she had gone wrong, she peered into the bottom of her vessel, and the only thing that was left in there, weak and cowering and waiting to crawl out, was hope. And yet hope did crawl out to chase out the evils in the world, to give people strength. And so although the fable has got a lot of power to it, remember that hope came after everything, and it allowed us to move further forward. Now, there is such a history of hope, and it is a force for change. And so one of the things you may not know is that there was a very famous painting called Hope, which inspired people such as Martin Luther King to dream big. And in one of his sermons in 1959, one called Shattered Dreams, he based that sermon on the original painting called Hope. And he called for people to gain more resilience, to pick themselves up and to unite. And similarly, a different pastor gave another sermon based on the painting of Hope. And there was somebody in the audience that day called Barack Obama. And he was so inspired that through his campaigning in the early 2000s, he focused on the theme of hope. And this is one of the things that united and inspired and gathered people's intentions and ambitions across America to restore the belief that life could be better. So hope has got a lot to answer for. It shaped minds, it shaped countries, and it will take us further forward in ways that at the moment, maybe you can't quite get to grips with. So what is hope really? Well, hope has several opportunities. Now, here is the point where from this slide, for the next few slides, you're going to be getting notes on. So don't worry about scribbling lots down unless you really want to. So hope is a guide. It helps you navigate a path. It can motivate you to take action because the energy and emotion of hope will unite with the desired outcome, and the feelings of the potential will start to gather in your energy, in your heart, and images will start to form in your mind. So therefore, it's a catalyst. And basically what happens is that this is like a tumble of energy buildup when we start to look at achieving something or acquiring something or taking ourselves to a place in life where we feel we'll find fulfillment and direction and clarity. So hope is future-based, but that doesn't mean you can't be mindfully present. With hope, anything is possible. So where there is hope, there is a way. And so hope is a creative initiating force. It gives you the opportunity to open up into what needs to be healed within you, because you can't truly move forward with hope and into that place of your full potential if you are living in your shadow self, If you are feeling broken in certain ways, and maybe your health's not that great, maybe your mindset or personal psychology has suffered the wounds of lifetimes, this is where hope can ignite the healing energy which motivates new beginnings. Hope can be your teacher. It can show you where you need to make changes, perhaps. It can show you how to make changes, because when it allows the creativity to come forward, you will actually be the problem solver. You will be the person who's resourceful, and you take action. And ultimately, hope is a legacy maker. Let me explain. When we follow our hopes, and we take action and we move steadily towards the direction of our dreams and our ambitions, ultimately we are creating something of a self-soul expression from within ourselves. Now, that might be something that pleases you and serves you only, or maybe it's something that you share with your nearest and dearest, family and friends, or maybe wider out into the world. Ultimately, when hope is activated and you put the energy into your heart center and you take actionable steps, you create something which is an expression of yourself. And so it becomes part of your legacy, part of how you are remembered, how you touch other people's lives, and maybe even help them have more hope so they make more changes in their lives. Hope for some is a curse, and for others it is a blessing. And the reason why I've included that little statement here is because for some people who don't know how to take action, having hope without the foundational steps, which I'm going to give you, can feel a bit like a trap. And equally, hope with unrealistic expectations can feel unfulfilling. So that's why today I'm going to give you insights and tools and techniques to help you stay grounded and realistic, but at the same time, aiming for those new horizons. So from there, hope is activated when answers are needed. Maybe there's those night times when you stare at the ceiling and you need to find an answer. So hope is there, always waiting to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you could be. Hope is activated when there is something to aim for, when you get the opportunity to take up a new challenge. And underneath everything, secretly, subconsciously, you will be hoping that whatever the opportunity is turns out the way you want it to be, the way it's promised, the way it could be. And of course, hope is activated when there's a challenge or a crisis looming. It gives you that strength and self-belief that you can move forward. It also is there when there's a goal to attain, when there is something that is more powerful than the limitations you feel within you. And so hope is activated when love prevails. Maybe a new relationship has come your way and you want it to work. So you self-examine and you look back over previous relationships, why they did work, why they didn't work, what got you to where you are now. And hope will give you the magnifying glass to pick out what needs to be different this time. Hope is the driving force for everything that can become possible in your world. So hope ignites and underpins your happiness and your joy. It gives you empowerment and the courage to make changes. Because of that, when you're thinking about making changes, if you're not very good at change, it actually gives you that underpinning, sustaining energy, which will allow you to take a chance, to trust yourself, to try things out. And that's what hope does. It helps you build self-trust. And when you have that sense of trusting yourself, what happens is your self-esteem starts to grow. And because your self-esteem starts to grow, your self-worth starts to grow. And all of this is based on knowing yourself more deeply, because you've taken up the opportunity to drive towards something that holds your hope in alignment with a new opportunity. So therefore, you become really super resourceful and you get creative with your planning. Your confidence grows. You become an amazing problem solver. Your resilience grows. Your endurance grows. You don't see obstacles, you see hurdles. And your determination to succeed and feel that wonderful feeling of fulfillment and accomplishment drives you forward. And I tend to see a lot of what we do with hope as something like a ship on an ocean. So the ocean is the underpinning hope that we ride upon. The ship itself is your desire, your dreams, your wishes that you want to come true. And at the helm is you, steering and navigating that dream boat desire through the waters ahead, through the fields of hope that come in waves and sometimes will take you in a different direction unexpectedly. Yet when you navigate truly towards the horizon that you are aiming for, then you will always be supported by hope, the sea of possibilities. So as we move forward, what this is all about is letting love be your guide. Because when we are heading for those new horizons, we wouldn't go to that extreme of navigating those waters if it was something that was undesirable. We navigate the waters of our life based on love, the love of something, someone, or of ourselves. And even though fear may come into play, really often when you look at it, and people say there's two choices, there's always love or fear. What motivates you? And I would actually say there's one motivating force, and that is the motivating force of love. And the reason why I say that is because when somebody is acting out of fear, it's often because they are responding to the fear of losing or being detached from something they love. So behind the fear is actually a deep love, which is the motivator, but fear has become the clouded vision that they are trying to work their way through. So let love in its wholesomeness be your guide, a bit like your sat nav. And as you do, you will smooth out the sea of hope in front of you and let yourself be guided beautifully. So with that in mind, I'm just going to throw it out there. Are there any questions I need to be answering? Anything that comes to mind?
There's no questions in the chat, but there are some lovely messages that I see. This is really resonating with people. Karen Goodwin says that this is so beautiful. I pulled a card this week and channeled a message on hope, synchronicity.
Wow.
And a lady who I don't know your name, but 631216. Her son was watching the Hunger Games this morning, which seemed a bit random, but when she watched it with him, it was all about hope.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. I'd love to know who your name is.
And Kate Johnson is loving the forget-me-nots.
Yes, they're from my garden every spring. I love them. Thank you. Most of these pictures are from my own gallery. So yeah, some of them aren't, but most of them are. Brilliant. So thank you for that feedback. That is super lovely. Yeah, you know, when you have the goggles of hope in your vision, you'll see that almost everything is basically based on hope. You know, you watch any film, and the underpinning driver is hope. And when you take that perspective, when you gain that awareness, you will, things shift. And it's like a massive penny drops. And we all want the best of outcomes in any situation, whatever it's the Hunger Games or whether it's anything in life. And you see, the thing of hope is that it's always aligned with light. And so when a rocket launches, the hope is that it's going to get to wherever it's going safely, effectively. Here we've got the Challenger going off. But you see, the reason why I chose this picture, and this isn't one of my pictures, I guess you guess that by now. But the thing is that we need the energy of light to fuel our hope. And hope is the energy of light. The two are together. So whether it's rocket fuel for a rocket or whether it's the light within you to keep you going, hope will give you that. And so ultimately, hope will guide you towards your life purpose and enriches your soul journey. Now, let me just explain the difference between your life purpose and your soul's journey. As I see it, and this isn't just my perspective, so if it resonates, great. If you've got different input, great. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just dropping in this insight. In my experience and understanding, your life purpose is one which is an innate feeling, which when you follow those feelings of what's right for you, what's wrong for you, where you feel called to show up, what kind of work you do, what talents you bring, what you get satisfaction from, you feel content and fulfilled by, that is your life's purpose. Your purpose is to experience and express yourself through whatever means seems appropriate, through your own feelings. For most of us, that will be an expression through compassion, love, forgiveness, hope, empathy, all those lovely virtues. Your soul journey supports your life purpose. And so the two go perfectly together. Your soul's journey, your soul's purpose, if you like, is to know and understand and experience unconditional love in all its forms. And it does that through multiple hostings on earth within a host. At the moment, your soul is hosted within you, and it's gaining insight, it's gaining imprints, it's gaining what it needs through your choices that you make along what you feel you are following as your life's purpose. And so you are enriching the soul you host with everything you go and grow through, so that when the time comes when the two of you part, it will be embellished with your contribution. And in time, the soul that you host will recycle and it will drop into a new hosting, and it will go with your imprints and insights and impressions, ready to enrich and guide the life purpose of its new host. I feel that we are in a massive, massive phase of awakening. I feel that we are all here, whether we realize it or not, we are all here at the right time to get that awakening message, to step up and courageously deal with what needs to be dealt with, to align ourselves more truly with the love of unconditional energy that is possible. So in other words, we are at a point where we are ready to shift gears, to go from the three-dimensional world of materialism and consumption into the five-dimensional world where we are living as our soul, where we are embracing the higher perspective and bringing to earth that sense of true humanity, true compassion, which will be driven forward by the energy of hope, which unites us. So as we do that, we need to know what hope is not. And so hope is not blind faith, taking anything that randomly pops in and going, oh, that must be true, I must focus on that. Hope is not a trickster. If you find that there's something within you that you are feeling drawn towards and it feels good, but you're a bit cautious, but yet there's this kind of quiver of excitement that goes with it, and there's this, ooh, what if, in a positive way, then you are being guided by probably your soul's impulses, but you might call it that you are looking at, I hope this new idea comes to play. And what happens is hope will bring to your awareness opportunities so that you can give yourself the chance to grow. It won't trick you into something that's going to be damaging. However, it's really important that you embrace any kind of movement you make for yourself with the opportunity to learn and grow. Remember, you're always in control. You can make choices, you can change direction. And when you learn to trust the feelings running through you, yourself, like I said before, your self-worth will grow, your self-esteem will grow. And when you trust yourself, then it all rolls beautifully together and hope becomes your lantern, which guides your path. Hope is not about delusion and being, in a way, living in a fairyland that doesn't ask you to be engaged. Hope is about making a commitment. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about charting a course. It's about making a plan. It's about having a goal. And ultimately, you are responsible for the outcome of whatever choices you make, which is great. So when you can tune into the positive feelings which guide you and let your intuition be speaking to you and you pay attention and trust it, then you will always find you are dwelling on the positive side of opportunity. Of course, if your self-esteem, your self-confidence isn't that rock solid, then you may not trust your intuition. And so this is an opportunity to begin to start to know where you're starting from, to learn and to grow in a way that really is enriching for everything you can experience in life. So, as I've said, hope unites us. It's what makes people take chances, daring chances. It's what drives us forward. And when you are able to remember you're not alone, if you've got a desire, something you want to try out for the new year, and it's been running around your mind, and over lockdown, you've had the chance to sit back and think, because you've had more chance to kind of get into who you really are and take time away from your normal roles and, look inwardly. If you've got something that you've discovered that you really want to do, and you're feeling a little bit, not so sure, what are people going to think? Go for it. Because the hope that you ignite within yourself, that this new opportunity is going to bring you something that is enriching, already we're here with you. Even though you may not connect directly with us, hope is a universal energy which you can tap into at any point. So go for it. So let's take a look at what happens when you've got hope in your heart. I love this picture. This is one I keep around me a lot because it makes me smile. I mentioned earlier on that hope can impact your health. And so when we are in the hope sphere, certain anatomical and physiological things start to happen. Your happy hormones are released, and these continue to uplift your mood and your mindset. When that happens, you start to soften off the effects of stress. when you are living in a realistic, hopeful state, and you're looking for the hope in all opportunities, what you're doing is you're sending messages from your senses into the deep parts of your brain, which then translate as neurotransmitters, chemicals in your body, which help cells talk to each other. And the message they're sending is this one of hope, optimism, upliftment, strength, resilience, ability, love. And what that does is it actually galvanizes your inner functioning from an anatomical, physiological level. And we all know that stress dampens down the immune system. So when the immune system is dampened down, guess what happens? You're vulnerable to whatever's going on around in the world and around in the people near you. So imagine that hope is your secret vitamin that actually you can take every day in so many ways. I'm going to give you loads of ways a little bit later on that can give you resilience and be robust in your health and your well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. However, when hope is shattered, when hope is lost, then a different mental state comes to play. And that mental state is one of perhaps low expectation, disappointment. It's one that maybe brings on anxiety or depression. It's one that saps the energy of resilience and leaves us open to the overwhelm of stress and headlines and so on. So without the hope in your heart, your body responds, and we want your body to be fueled with the most amazing energy. Now, interestingly, as a sideline, in Chinese medicine, every part of your body, every organ of your body, and every fluid of your body is related to an emotion. And the emotion of joy is related to your blood. So if you are infusing your mindset with joy, and we can call that hope as well, because hope brings joy into your heart, then imagine that through your blood, and if you looked at it under a microscope, you see all the normal bits and bobs. But what about if the energy that holds all the aspects of your red blood cells in place is the energy of joy and hope? What if that's what holds the blood together and you're pumping that around your body? You become this radiant, infused being that just literally oozes hope, oozes joy. And that becomes your health. And so, it once was said to me by somebody very wise, never take away someone's hope. It may be all they have. And you may not realize how fragile somebody is. You may not realize how much hope is the only thing they've got that keeps them going. You may not realize it because the people who are hanging on by their fingernails are perhaps dealing with life in a way that comes over as aggressive or bullying or difficult. And really what it is that's the survival response. They're trying to hold on. And because the way they present themselves can seem coarse or antagonistic or abrupt or difficult, it would be easy to try and combat that because maybe you feel a little bit affronted or frustrated or angry even. Look, we're human. We're going to feel these things. And it would be really, really easy to burst somebody's bubble. And with that goes the underpinning bit of hope that was keeping them going. Watch out, self-awareness here. Watch out if you start sentences with the word no. If you suggest something to somebody and before they as the banter goes, the first thing they say is no, blah, 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 blah. No is such a dead stop word. It can send arrows into your heart, and it can easily be what starts to diminish your self-belief, your self-worth, your self-esteem, your hope, your self-opinion, your lack of trust in yourself. Be mindful. And the best way to do that is just to watch other people's conversations to begin with. Look at how people exchange. See if somebody says something and the person they're speaking to, the first thing they says is, because they don't agree with it or they don't think it's the right thing or they've got their own opinions, is no, blah, blah, blah. Watch the interchange, because the original speaker may be just hanging on by their fingernails and we don't know it. Be aware, be kind, be compassionate, listen, explore, ask questions. And instead of jumping back with a no statement, ask them, why do they feel like that? What do you think could, how can we make that happen? Engage as opposed to shut down. Sorry. So here, when hope is shattered, there is detachment that starts to happen. When people are told often enough that what they're thinking or what they believe isn't in alignment with somebody else, usually one particular person in their lives, they start to feel disillusioned. They'll withdraw and they'll detach from engagement. In some ways can become codependent on understanding that the other person, or they believe the other person, always knows the answer. And that's not true. The other person may be responding from a very different dimension. When hope is shattered, there could be bitterness, anger, resentment, which all play into health and well-being. Again, Chinese medicine. Anger affects the liver. Bitterness affects the gallbladder. Resentment also affects the gallbladder. So every illness that we commonly see will have an emotional trigger. And when we understand that, and we can put it into the arena of how can we prevent these illnesses? How can we become more resilient? How can we open up to the possibility of being the master of our mindset in moments? Hope is the guiding light to take us from where we are to where we're going to be. And it's perfectly possible. And what we don't want is that for somebody's hope to be shattered so much that they become cold-hearted, distant, and completely feeling of no value. Ultimately, we all have dreams, ambitions, and desires we'd like to see come true, whether they're big or small, that whether you can achieve them in a day or a lifetime. And what we need to do is be aware of other people's underpinning motivations and their hope for what they want to achieve. So here's a little one for you. Thomas Edison, the guy who created the light bulb, failed 1,000 times. And when asked, how did you keep going? What was it that made you persevere? He answered this: I will not say I failed 1,000 times. I will say I discovered there are 1,000 ways that caused failure. So it wasn't him. It was simply how he was expressing his talent. And what will have kept him going through those 1,000 times was the hope that he would find the answer. And 1,001, boom. Thank you, Edison. We would be roaming around in the dark had you not had hope. So now, my friends, here we're going to take this into a different level. We're going to make this a calendar for your year of hope. Before I do that, I just want to check in if there's any questions or any comments. Kate, over to you.
So we're seeing quite a few comments and a couple of questions. So I'll do these in order. 631216 is Christy, and I couldn't see you before. So
hi, hello. Christy.
And Jane C's noticed that actually I have the word hope in my surname, which I had never realized before. So how synchronous is that?
Yay! Go for it.
And Gunilla has a question. She's noticed that she's definitely enriching her soul that she's hosting right now, feeling truly successful. And her question is, can you explain how to discern or use discernment so I'm not tricked or deluded? And I'll come to the other questions and comments after this.
Okay, great question. Thanks, Gunilla. Long time since I saw you, by the way. Okay, so how do we discern? And the simple answer, but it's a deep one, is to follow the feeling. And so it's about tuning into, you would call it your intuition, you call it your soul's voice, whatever you want to call it, or just the feeling. So if you have, let's use an example, if you have an opportunity or an idea or an insight that you want to do something or create something or be something or have something, whatever, and you weren't expecting it to come your way, and perhaps you never would have thought of this whatever opportunity, sometimes we get thrown red herrings. And a red herring is something which looks really desirable and will ultimately take you off track from your desired original goal or aim. Now, a red herring isn't a bad thing necessarily. You'll maybe try out the opportunity that is a red herring and you'll realize that it's not taking you where you want to be. And that's fine, so long as you look back and see what you've learned. And probably the first thing you'd learn is to trust your judgment more. What you'd be trusting to help you to help you stay on track and not fall into the pit of delusion or any kind of sidetrack is to follow the feeling. And the feeling you want to tune into is a heart-centered flutter or a little bit of a zoom, or a gut-centered quiver, or a little bit of a zoom again. It is, your body is truly your best barometer. And, you can sit down all day long and have your lists of good ideas or positive thoughts, negative thoughts. You can always sit down and then you'll just crumple that up and throw it in the bin and still then sit there and go, I still don't know. But when you follow the feeling and you tune into that, and I truly do put my hands on my heart, and sometimes on my solar plexus as well, because that's where your soul will talk to you through those chakras. Remember, your solar plexus is at the top of your gut, so it's tuning into the gut wisdom there as well. When you get those uplifting feelings, that's telling you, yes, consider it more deeply. If you get a clench or a flop, then bypass it. Thank whatever the awareness is for the opportunity. Congratulate yourself for not being taken down a rabbit hole or taken into a red herring situation, and then direct your energy purposefully onto the path that you want to follow and start to make a plan, make the baby steps, whatever it might be. I hope that helps, Gunilla. Let Kate know in the comment. Okay, next one, Kate.
Okay, Ruth Smart is loving the image of the child with the butterfly wings. Kate commenting, love that hope is our guide. Yeah. And Jane Baker is telling us a story where she's an emergency foster carer and had a very difficult autistic child last night, and he doesn't understand hope and what you're saying, but she thinks subconsciously that he does. And the social workers need to listen to this, as his hope needs to be built up, but they're constantly using the word no, no, no. She took no notice of them. She's not qualified. And he's left this morning smiling, and he's looking forward to coming back next weekend.
Yay.
Some lovely resonating comments about that.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for that. The thing is with the word no, is that there isn't a level of understanding behind it. And when we are told no, either as a child or as an adult, when we're told no, really what that is the opening to explanation, so greater understanding can come on. Instead, what most people do is they either just say no, and expect that with a certain tone to cause the response they want. But it doesn't change behavior. It doesn't give understanding. And unless there is understanding behind the word no, then actions don't change. Mindsets don't change. People don't grow. So no is a really powerful word. And unless you're about to save somebody from immediate danger and the only word you can say is no, then I would say there's not many times when no should be really used. It literally does shut the brain down. It shuts the heart down. And then if you want the person or the child to do something after that, they're already resistant. And so let's try and be more mindful. But thank you for that. And I'm sure that little person is going to gain so much from your time with them. And maybe they don't understand hope, but if you look at what they do, the minute you pick up anything, there's a subconscious voice that says, I hope this is going to do X, Y, Z. So when a child picks up a toy, they are subconsciously hoping to have a fun time. So hope will exist. It's just not going to be articulated in the way that maybe we understand, but that's okay. We don't understand everything, and it's energy anyway. So infuse everything with hope, and you'll uplift. Remember, we're all in this together. So we pull each other up. Thank you. Anything else, Kate?
Yeah, that leads really nicely into Cronella's question, which is how to deal with energy vampires and bullies and control freaks without saying no.
Oh, yes. Don't we come across these? Okay, so they're all in the same bundle. And really, energy vampires, control freaks, narcissists, all these kind of people, basically, they're in a groove where they don't feel good enough. In other words, their self-esteem and self-worth is rock bottom instead of rock solid. And in order to try and feel better, they've created this kind of survival tactic of sucking energy or controlling other people. That's how that scenario, in a nutshell, comes about. I did do a workshop last month on narcissists and empaths, which I talk a lot more about this, the whole 2 hours on this, which is over in my replay library. How do you deal with it? Well, some people like to imagine, protection over their heart and solar plexus when they're listening to or in the company of these energy vampires. That is a good mental tactic. But also, it's sometimes just about the words that you can express. And if somebody comes at you and there's going to be a no statement, simply say to them, tell me why you think that, in a nice way, without being provocative, or tell me more about that, or let's see how else we could look at that then. So it's not about you coalescing to their level, never. And it's not about you being overrun by their energy. It's about you being the wise person, the awakened person, and cutting through the middle of that, saying, tell me more. Tell me more about then how we can do this, or where we should go with this, and try out what they say. But it's about gentle, compassionate awareness. And sometimes when we are confronted with these kind of people, it's very human of us to kind of go, oh my goodness, panic mode and low vibrational mode, and we get into protection for ourselves. And for people who've been in some of my energy-based workshops, you'll hear me speak about protection, and I get it that we do need to be aware of what's going on around us. But if you focus on the law of attraction, if you believe in the law of attraction, that says what you think about, you bring about. So if you are focusing on protecting yourself all the time, then what you're projecting is there's stuff to be fearful from. There's stuff to be protected from. And basically magnetizing, that's what's going to come to you. In my understanding, there's so much that we could project and put in our aura, which is positive and hopeful and loving and kind and compassionate and empathic, without making ourselves vulnerable. So one of the things I find is that when we look at the higher virtues that I've just mentioned, people tend to think that makes you weak. It doesn't. It makes you galvanized. And when we project that energy as our beingness, and we have that running through our bloodstream, filled with the hope that you'll be sprinkling just those droplets of difference as you go, then the energy vampires and the narcissists and all those other kind of people will get bored of trying to control, and maybe they'll get some enlightenment, maybe they'll just toddle off. But either way, learn something from their behavior because they've shown up as a learning tool, and then let them go. I hope that helps. Anything else, Kate?
There's no more questions. There are some really lovely comments, but I'm conscious of the time. So
yeah, so am I. Okay, cool. Thank you, everybody, for your lovely comments. I will post the comment thread in the member vault area of my learning platform, where you're going to be getting the replay, so you can check back over. And thank you so much. It's really encouraging. Now, your year of hope. Let's get cracking. We're going to divide this down into seasons, and then I'm going to give you ways to ultimately go about the year. So my suggestion for you is this. Now, write this down. Start today. Don't do this right now because we haven't really got time for it, but write this down. What have you overcome this year? I'm sure there's plenty. What are your hopes and dreams for 2022? They might be basic, you know, you want the freedom to go where you want to go. You want to go on holiday. Whatever they are. Try and also, whether they're external ones, like I want to go on holiday, that's great, but try and also have some inner ones. You know, you want to maybe find more time to meditate, or do yoga or Pilates, or create your soul self connection more deeply, or forgive yourself more. You know, keep a balance between external and internal hopes and dreams. And overall, starting today, how do you want to feel this time next year? And try and keep it. If you end up writing a whole list of things, that's great, but try and condense it down to one or two, most of all 3 feelings you want to embrace and be living in by this time next year. Now, make sure you put the date on top of your journal notes, the 4th of December, 2021, or whenever you're doing this, if you're watching it on replay, because what I'm presenting to you here will fit in any time of the year, whenever you start. Just pick it up where you're at. So those are your first 3 questions for today. And when you sit back and take some time over that, you will start to leave 2021 on a more positive note than you could perhaps otherwise. So let's get clear about, and you might want to write this down, what needs to change, how you will make progress. So what are your stepping stones? What are your goals? I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. Who will cheer you on? That can be quite revealing. How will you celebrate, either at the end of next year or every month? Or how will you celebrate? And also, I encourage you to set a date in your 2022 diary to revisit these notes, to revisit your hopes, and keep this as a living, working plan for next year. The thing is, unless we get clear about where we want to be, we can't start to make progress. I know that sounds really obvious. However, while we may know that, it's nothing unless we take action. So having that goal and dream is a brilliant way to start. And then what we need to do is break it down into bite-sized chunks, baby steps, maybe week by week, month by month, season by season. Now we're coming into winter as we're here. So I'm going to just give you some ideas as to what is really important to get focused on. I'm going to put this in some notes for you. You can just pay attention if you'd rather not be writing madly. So over the coming months, let's give it some parameters, shall we? From December 21st, when we've got the next solstice, through to March 20th, 19th, 20th, when we've got the equinox, consider that winter, a chunk of time, 12-ish weeks, and focus your energy on these kind of topics. List what you've learned, not only in the past year, but over your lifetime, about yourself, about people, about the world. And yeah, there may be some not so positive stuff, but we won't stop there. We'll see what we can do to make that positive. Consider what gives you strength. And let those things, even if they're simple, even if it's the joy of seeing a squirrel, whatever it might be, what gives you strength? And who are your role models? Are they really as sorted as you think they are? Sorted, not sorted. Are they really as sorted and got it going on as you think they are? Or are they just people like you, just working their way through, learning as they go, making mistakes, figuring things out? Your role model may actually be something that isn't a person. It may be a pet, or it may be an aspect of nature. What do you identify with? And I showed you earlier on, I identify with rocks, trees, water, and the sky. And the sky can be the sun, the stars, the moon. What gives you energy? What do you identify with? And it's from there, and it'll be very personal. And I'm pretty sure that people on the awakening journey will gain their strength from nature in some way. And whether you've thought about it or not, think about the joy when you're going for a walk and the same little robin hops along with you for a part of that journey. That's uplifting. That little robin maybe is hoping you're going to give it some food, but we all operate on hope, so why not? Choose your input really carefully. And what this means is take time to digitally detox. I know we're watching this online, but find that balance. Turn your phone off at least once a week for a couple of hours. And if you can have no phone time after a certain time in the day, then great, do that. And try not to make your phone or your computer or whatever the first thing you engage with every day. Engage with yourself and gain a habit of being present and mindful. Maybe in the morning you do some gentle stretching. Maybe you do some meditating. Maybe when you're in the shower, you say your affirmations for the day, or you imagine how you want the day to unfold. Ultimately, be mindful of the vibrational level of what is coming to you, that you may forget there's always an off button. Remember, there's always an off button on the digital stuff and the TV and all the rest of it. You're in control. And get really clear over these next 12 weeks, get really, really clear about what it is you would like to experience emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually over the coming seasons. So this is a preparation time, and don't feel there's any rush. Don't feel there's a must do, should do, could do, would do, that you're failing or falling behind because you don't think about it for a couple of days. None of that. There's no room for that. But be really content and patient that when you give your intentions, your ambitions, hopes, and dreams time to percolate, you will actually ultimately come up with a plan. And that plan is one that's flexible. It is like stepping stones through a pathway, but there may be side steps that you need to take in order to navigate it fully. That's okay, but at least have something to be aiming for. When we get into spring, now's the time when the energy that you've been investing in that getting focused time starts to blossom, just like the springtime will blossom. And so nature will empower you to start to bud yourself. And here's where you want to gather your gifts and graces at the beginning of spring. So in March, we're talking about here. And gathering your gifts and graces means looking at what your talents are, what your virtues and your values and your beliefs are, what your skills are. Maybe you're a great planner. Maybe you're a great problem solver. Maybe you are really techie and you can set yourself up a spreadsheet of things you want to be doing, whatever that means to you. But your graces are also your inner soul values that express through you. So your graces are kindness, compassion, empathy, tolerance, forgiveness, probably many more you could mention and name for yourself. And gather your graces so that you have them as your, if you like, your overcoat of how you show up. And these will give you strength and they'll give you resilience, and they will provide a portal through which hope can travel. Then we're going to be making a commitment to act. Now, bear in mind the spring phase goes from March to June, the middle of June, or around the 20th of June, when we've got another high energy day. And so here in the early part of March, early April time, you're going to be making a commitment to act. And what does that mean? Well, having broken down your dreams and desires into bite-sized pieces, you're then, and gathered what your resources are, you are then going to start to take those first steps. You may feel tentative about it. You may need some guidance. And, this is the kind of thing that we focus on in my wonderfully buoyant Soul Whisperers Sisterhood Facebook group. Each week I'm in there, keeping you inspired, keeping you moving forward. It's a free group. You can join it and be part of what we're doing. Kate will pop this link into the chat for you, and it'll be part of what you get later on from me, if you feel you'd like to keep up that connection. And when we get into going into the March, April time, you'll know that you'll be supported. Then what we're going to be doing is tuning into that springtime energy. We're going to be riding the energy. Nature will take you there. You'll feel more buoyant and uplifted, and harness that. And here's a time just to go back and reconnect with your hopes, reconnect with your dreams and ambitions. Double check they're on track. Make sure that your plan is aligned with getting you step by step by step there. And you don't need to know all the steps. You don't have to have the plan fully formed. You just need to follow those feelings and take action. Baby steps make big leaps. And from there, when you get the baby steps going, you will start your momentum, and you will start to hop and skip in some ways. And who knows how quickly you'll end up where you want to be. Maybe by June, you'll actually be living that amazing experience. That's the plan. Progression each month. Set yourself a bit of a target each month, and you will quickly get to that place where you will feel fulfilled. You will feel purposeful, meaningful. You will feel on track. And that sense of enrichment will be busting through you. And your smile on your face will be so radiant, and you'll be lighting up the world around you simply by showing up. And those energy vampires and all those guys, poof, off into the shadows. The greatest light suppresses the shadows and ultimately works its way through the shadows. You can be that light. Now, I saw that Leslie had her hand up. Was there a comment I could help with? Anything? Okay, so I'll come back to that, Kate, if Leslie's got a question.
There's nothing in the chat, but she does have her hand up. So I don't know if she wants to ask a question.
Leslie, would you like to ask a question? If you unmute yourself. No? Okay. Leslie.
I'll lower the hand then, Leslie. If you want to post anything in the chat, please do.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so moving on. So we've hit June and we are now in that great time of celebration. And this is where we can just sit back and recognize how far you've come from today, from the winter months, from the springtime. Recognize what's changing, embrace it. And if something isn't quite how you would like it to be, then first of all, explore if there's some learning in there for you. But secondly, look at, okay, do I need to recalibrate? Do I need to explore the reality of what I'm really going for? And so it's okay to change direction. It's okay to recalibrate and redefine what your goals are, what your plan is, because life happens. And if you are consciously engaging in this process, you will actually no doubt want to add to, remove, or redefine what it is that you are aiming for. And this, let me just be really clear. This doesn't have to be that you are, conquering the world or earning millions or anything like that. This is an inside job. It's about you connecting and living in those feelings of purpose, meaningfulness, contentment, enrichment, value, and ultimately legacy. But focus on what it is that brings you alive in life. And your gratitudes guarantees the good things to keep coming. Recognizing what you're grateful for is the surest way to open up into receiving more, because that's where you tune into. Keep it going. Ask yourself in June and the months over the summer, how are you feeling? Checking in, reflecting, checking in, and recalibrating. And maybe that time now has come when you can celebrate and share. Maybe you want to share it with your family and friends, something you've achieved, something you've created, something you've manifested. Or maybe you want to celebrate over in the Soul Whisperer Sisterhood with us. You'll get a warm reception because we're all there going to be cheering you on. So however you choose to share and celebrate, know that anchors what you have achieved and that it launches you into that next phase. And that next phase is going to take you around to the autumn of next year or the autumn of your experience. And here, this is where we're harvesting. So we're going to review and reflect. Again, you might recalibrate. Harvest your learning. What have you learned about yourself? What are you learning about the world and how you engage with it? What are you learning about others? And, what you'll find is that there's no great epiphanies. Perhaps you'll find that people are just doing their best to be keeping moving forward, to be the best person they can be. But sometimes people get off track. And ultimately, the autumn time is of thanksgiving. And this is amplified gratitude. And from there, you may recalibrate your hopes. Your gratitude and thanks will take you further forward. And you will, no doubt, want to re-envision your future, because if life is a spiral, you will have moved up your spirals. And ask yourself, how have I grown? Look at your friend circle now and the people you really feel aligned with. Who are your soul sisters? And who are people who are kind of hanging out on the edges? And I wonder if they will be the same this time next year. It doesn't mean you need to jettison people from your life. I think you'll just feel more aligned to certain people, and you'll feel nourished and supported by those who are on the same page as you. And that is something as a real gift to yourself. And then, of course, we would come back to moving on. Now, this has got a lot of words on it. Please don't try and read them all. So the thing is here, while you are becoming, behold each situation, welcome every feeling, notice what you're sensing, and let go of any story that says, who are you to go down this route, who to want this? Who are you to hope for this? When you get a moment of quiver, of disbelief, of judging, of any kind of apprehension, sit back with yourself. ask yourself, what is it I'm afraid of? And often it'll be you're afraid of stepping into the unknown. But the unknown is known to other people, so it's not dangerous. It's perfectly possible to get there. But maybe it's unknown to you. Maybe this fear of self-love is feeling a little bit, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know really what that's going to mean to me. Maybe the feeling of trust is a bit unknown to you because maybe that's how you've gone through life so far. Ultimately, whatever makes you stop and quiver is where learning is waiting. And so when you amplify and activate hope, it bridges from where you are to where you could be. Because when you focus on the hope, it takes you into that positive feeling. So if you get a quiver moment, then sit with it and say, okay, I'm having a quiver moment. What is the quiver moment called? It's called worry. It's called lack of self-trust, low confidence, whatever. What's the quiver moment called? Okay, let's get a name on it. And ask yourself then this question. If I knew how to conquer this quiver, what's the first thing I would do? And then without filtering, without judging, without hesitation, jot down an answer. So yeah, it's a journal exercise. If I knew how to conquer X, that quiver, what's the first thing I would do? Get something on the paper, because if it's in your head, it's going to roll around your head and your head's going to nullify it. And then take action. If I could leave one message to people who are frustrated or curious along their awakening journey, one thing I would say is, how much action did you take? Theory is fine. Knowing is fine. But what action did you take to amplify your belief in yourself and in something better, something that you are here to experience? As they say, face the fear and do it anyway. Face the quiver and bridge over it with hope, because hope will take you from where you are to where you'd like to be, and let the waters of the quiver just run on through. And then what you've got is a bridge into something new. Give that a try. Now then, I want to share with you some of my top tips. I'm just going to move my screen. These will be on a handout, so you don't need to worry about writing them down. My top tips. Honestly confront your disappointments. You know, we've all had disappointments, things that didn't work out the way we wanted them to, people who let us down, and so on. Focus on your disappointments for a bit and honestly confront them and ask yourself, why did that not work out? Is it because you had too much expectation, that you weren't basing your hopes and expectations on reality, that you were blinkered a little bit? Was it that you attracted something that really wasn't in your groove and really was there to teach you something? What did you learn? And cultivate infinite hope. And this is what Martin Luther King did in everything, which underpinned everything he achieved to help people in his community, people in his world become more visible, become more honored. And it's basically the energy of keep going. Once you've defined and aligned with what brings you joy and where your hopes are directed, carry that sense of infinite potential within you. You see, anything that you could want or hope or desire has already been achieved 1,000,000 times over in the world. So the energy and the patterns and the opportunity already exist. What needs to happen is that you get past your own story, you get past your own yeah buts or what ifs, and you embrace this infinite connection with the energy of hope, which will guide you further forward. You got to trust. And then dig deeper and connect into that place of feeling, of self-honoring, of self-love. From there, allow yourself to really embrace what needs to happen. It's about trust. It's about letting fear stay in the background because it has no bearing on what you're doing. Maybe you need to sit down with yourself and really meditate on your vision. Bring your goal to mind. Maybe you're partway on the way towards that already, but make sure that you have got a clear view. Take your baby steps, bite-sized things down into the first 3 things you need to do, get them done. What's the next 3 things you need to do? Recalibrate and go forward. Maybe have a hope buddy, somebody, a near and dear friend who you can trust with your innermost thoughts and will listen. Somebody who is that beautiful that they will listen and put their own agenda, their own thoughts, their own needs, their own perspectives to the side, because they are there holding you in that space of acceptability and letting you be all that you can be in words, and try out how it sounds to experience that beautiful energy of hope that you want to drive forward. Be flexible. Know that things don't always go to plan, but learn, recalibrate, move on. And when we continually move on, then we are gathering more energy around us. So you become more resilient, you become stronger, your self-belief grows. So be mindful of that. Be aware that as you open up into the opportunity of knowing and growing yourself more beautifully, that you are doing this yourself and you're to be congratulated. From there, 8 ways to cultivate hope every day. And this is where you can get started straight away. So let's get cracking. There we go. First of all, let hope guide your day. Very truly, whatever you do, think, or experience in the first hour of your day is going to govern how the rest of your day goes. Personally, I do morning stillness every morning, and I've done this for years. And what morning stillness is to me, that's what I've given it that name. What morning stillness is to me, and if you've been on any of my retreats, you know we talk about this and we do this to get you started in the right way, is basically a little bit extra time in bed. Maybe it's in bed, or maybe it's in the shower, or maybe you're out for a walk. What I do is I put hand on heart, hand on solar plexus, and I just take a few really nice, slow, deep diaphragmatic breaths and let myself feel the transition from just waking up into that hazy space into becoming more connected and aware of my body. Perhaps I stretch, perhaps my cats are wanting their food and they're kind of cuddling in, but I'm just simply not rushing to spring out of bed. And in that morning stillness space, which can take a few minutes or as long as you need, I'm simply maybe reflecting on my nighttime dreams, experiencing the stillness and just enjoying the stillness. And as I've experienced that and just being grateful for my health and what I've got around me, I then start to think about my day. And I will frame up in my mind the first few things that need to happen, apart from the normal things that we do each morning. And so I know that as I approach my day, I've already got a framework of the first 3 things that need to take place in order for my day to unfold beautifully. And sometimes in that consideration time, I realize that something I didn't have an anticipation of is calling to my attention, and it can do because I'm calm. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not listening to anything. I am just literally open to receive. And it's at this point in your morning stillness that you can ask questions. What is it my soul wants me to know today? Or something along that line. It's the most valuable part of the day, and it sets you up beautifully. From there, whatever you do, think positive. That's not to be naive. It's not to kind of glibly think that, the fairies will fix everything, but find the positive in everything without negating the learning opportunities, what might be negative, what might need attention, but stay focused on the positive, and you will find your creativity helps you find solutions everywhere you go. Now then, when you get a situation, will you be the pebble or the plop? Those of you who have my little book, Light-Filled, Loving and Wise, know that there's a chapter in there. And with that, the pebble or the plop is this. Imagine you've got a beautiful, calm expanse of water, and you pick up this pebble. And the pebble of positivity, when thrown into the water, creates this most amazing set of ripples, which you'll never see where they all land. They go out and touch the shores and the souls of people in your world. And if you're being the pebble of positivity and hope, what's happening is you are showing up in a way which leaves a trail of upliftment behind you. If you're the plop, that pebble just goes doof, no ripples, just a splash, bit of spiky energy, bit of spiky water comes off, and it sinks to the bottom, and there it sits, looking up to what could be beyond the surface of the water, where the ripples could and should be flowing. With that, ask yourself, in any situation, are you going to be the pebble of positivity and hope, or are you going to be the plop? And the plop people are the ones who start sentences with the word no or yeah, but. They're the what-ifers. Be the pebble, not the plop. And from there, each day, take time to connect. You might do that in your morning stillness, but I really suggest you fit in a few minutes in the middle of your day just to check in, recalibrate, 5 minutes, get outside, stand in nature, sit in nature, get away from the tech, get away from other people maybe, be with your fur babies, be with something that inspires you. Maybe listen to some really fabulous music and dance around and increase your energy. Connecting is all about amplifying that energy resonance within you so that you can go forward and carry that energy of hope into everything you do. And it'll feel very subconscious. You won't necessarily know that you are living your day on hope or in hope, but you are expressing that hope energy in many different ways. Go for it, do it. It makes the day much brighter. And you know, your journaling is a fantastic way to get what's in your head as a hope or a dream or a plan or an expression out of yourself. Make it real. Maybe make a vision board. That's a perfect thing to do in January. And just give yourself that opportunity to start to see what's waiting within, coming out in real terms. And from there, go forward, grow, and be amazing. And I know you'd probably do this, but you never know the impact you make on those around you. I spoke a bit about this earlier on. Be the hope that others need. It doesn't need to be massive gestures. It just needs to be genuine. And it's about giving without expectation. It's about holding out that hand, which may be what makes the difference. You never know where that person is with themselves behind what they're presenting. And you know what? I've often found that the people that present the kind of most altogether, rah, confident, the world doesn't touch me, I'm always on top kind of people, they're often the ones that behind the scenes are pretty empty in terms of feeling confident or feeling really good about themselves. And it's all a mask. It's a defense tactic. It's a survival tactic. And it's worked so far because a lot of people get sucked into the illusion. Hope breaks through the illusion. It subtly beckons authenticity to come to the fore. And when that is the case, you will be showing up in your authentic self, and the world will be a better place for it. Let love fuel your hope. We've talked about, hope and joy energetically riding in your bloodstream. Let that be your signature. Let that fuel your hope, your love of something that fuels you inside, that lifts you up, that keeps you focused, keeps you positive, keeps you aware and alert and problem solving in efficient ways, keeps you creative. But let the love of something that is wholesome and meaningful and nourishing fuel your hope. And then let the hope take action. Take yourself into that place. Let love be the ignition of your hope, and let the light of both hope and love be your guide. So at the end of the day, as you're settling down or just kind of getting ready for bed and such, check in with yourself. Did you smile today? Like a proper smile. Did you make somebody else smile today? Now you see, that's a huge thing. Making somebody else or passing a random smile onto somebody else might make all the difference to the day when you're out in the street. Now, I know it's difficult with face masks, but you know what? Your eyes can smile as well. And so let your eyes beam that kindness, hope, unconditional love out to others. And goodness knows we will ride through all of this in such a brilliant way. And from there, as you finish your day, reflect on 3 reasons why you are grateful. I do this when I'm settling back down into bed. This is my evening stillness, my evening gratitudes. Again, hand on heart, hand on solar plexus, and just breathe and just reflect in the day. And they might be tiny weeny. They might be big. They might be everyday things like, I'm really glad I've got a comfortable warm bed to go into. I'm really glad I had a lovely dinner. Gratitude is the same no matter what it's directed towards. It's that energy that amplifies more of the same to come to you. And then one of the most important things I want you to remember is this beautiful saying, which I have in my lifeblood. And that is, just when it thought its world had come to an end, the caterpillar became a butterfly. Never lose hope, because sometimes, as we've said, hope is all we can hang on to. Encourage other people to explore their cocoon if they seem stuck in their world, reminding them that they can break free of that cocoon, that hope will take them out into the world. And for yourself, make sure that there is always an honoring of where you've come from, your caterpillar days, remembering that that has helped make you who you are. And yet you have progressed, you have gained your wings. Fly high, spread that joy, ride on the waves of hope. And that in itself will build every part of yourself, your mind, body, heart, and soul in such amazing ways that you become invincible, that you become this radiant, light-filled, loving and wise being that is part of your life purpose and is part of your soul's journey. You may be somewhere along that journey right now, and it is so good to be journeying with you. So in this moment, what have we covered? We've looked at the numbers. We've looked at what hope is and isn't. We know that having rock solid hope can improve your well-being and your resilience and support your immune system. We've looked at your year of hope season by season, and with the prompts that are in there, which will come to you in the notes, we have looked at a way you can break that down into weekly prompts. You've got my top tips and quick pick-me-ups, and I've got a few more for you. You know, a quick tip, a quick prompt is something like, whenever you turn on a light, think about that's turning on the light of hope in yourself. What is it you're grateful for? What is it that you're lighting up in yourself. That's a good metaphorical prompt to remember the light you hold within you. And when you can weave into your daily life, such as when you're brushing your teeth every day, think about what you're grateful for, or think about what the next step on your journey is. It's all about being present and tuning into what's running through you, but doing it at times that are part of your normal habits anyway. That's what makes it a living experience. That's what brings hope into your daily life. Now then, have we got any questions or wonderings, Kate?
Oh, yes, we do. Absolutely. Okay. Jane Baker is launching an equine therapeutic project in spring and is hoping to print out some of your quotes from today so that she can paint them across the stables.
Cool. Thank you.
She's asking if that's okay.
Oh God, yeah. Please do. Yes, anybody, please take what is in here, and if we can be the pebbles of positivity and hope, let's do it. Oh, that's such a, I'm so humbled and honored. Thank you. That is super, super good. Thank you so much. Yes, Jane, go for it. And good luck with your equine school, and post in the Soul Whisper Sisterhood. Come over there if you're not already there. Post in there. I'd love to see how you go on.
Kate is saying, I'm not sure whether she's going to write it or you are, but she's feeling another book on how to plan life. Cornell is saying, thank you so much for the excellent advice, especially about bringing the energy of faith, truth, and spiritual knowledge to the frequency of universal bliss.
Oh, beautiful words. Thank you so much. Yes, you said it a lot better than I could. Brilliant. As for another book, maybe it's something you need to explore, actually. Who was it that said that, Kate?
It was Kate. I don't know your last name, Kate.
Ah, okay. So Kate, yeah, maybe it's something you need to think about putting out to the world in your own way. And, you know, it doesn't even have to be a book. It can be a blog. It can be a Facebook post. It can be something that you write and you share with people, you know, and I'll give that some thought too. Cool. Any more?
Elaine Christine is saying that she has your book and is going to spend a couple of hours with it this afternoon.
Yay. Yeah. Thank you. And if anybody wants any of my books for Christmas presents, stocking stuffers, let me know. Best way to do that is through Facebook Messenger.
Laura Harding says she had no idea that this workshop would evoke so many emotions within her. Thank you so much. It's truly very welcome to visit Hope and acknowledge it as a friend.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Flora. Yeah, you know, hope is something that is kind of a throwaway word, isn't it, in our world? We know we say, I hope you have a good time, or I hope your holiday goes well, or I hope that doesn't happen. We use it so much, and yet when we truly are conscious of its meaning and its potential, then we've got a super energy we can ride into and spread, because goodness knows we all need a bit more. So thank you, Flora. I'm glad you had that experience and all the emotions and stuff.
The comments are really flooding in. So
I can see them.
Absolutely. Christy is saying tears have flowed and her heart is singing. Nikki Bell says she's got so many practical steps that she can take to move things some more. And she's a typical Capricorn, so that's what helps her the most.
Yay!
So many reflections on what you've been saying, the imagery that you've used. Karen Goodwin saying this is her motto about the butterfly becoming, when the caterpillar believes that its life is at an end, it becomes a butterfly.
Yeah.
So beautiful, Anna-Louise. Thank you so much from Sarah C. Kate Johnson's talking about gratitude.
Yeah.
So there's so many messages, Anna-Louise. I'm just going to check through these and see if there are questions.
Okay, cool.
So many thank yous and joys and insights that the lovely people in the space have experienced today.
Brilliant. Thank you. Wow, everybody. Thank you so much. Kate is going to pop in when she gets finished looking at the chat. Kate will pop in my website email, my website address, and also a couple of other links to my different connections. One is the Soul Whisperers Sisterhood, which is my free Facebook group. And if you like to go into deeper conversations about topics that will take you further forward on your journey and have guidance and support every week from me, plus discounts on everything, then Kate's going to pop in the link for my Light-Filled Loving and Wise membership, which is just a brilliant place to hang out. And most importantly, what I would like to do is, if you do have a question or an insight, then please friend me up on Facebook and pop it into Messenger. And I will include my email address with the email I'm going to send you with the recording instructions. And that way you can pop me a question back. Either way, just don't leave yourself hanging with a question or a comment. I want to help. I want to make sure that we are all moving forward together in this blissful space and taking hope as the light which guides not only our own journey, but those of others as well. And we do that simply by showing up and being that amazing, radiant being that you were born to be. So I can't see the comments, but I can see the number racking up. And I think, Kate, you're probably really busy right now. So is there anything I need to pay attention to, Kate?
I think this is just a huge outpouring of love and gratitude for everything that you have shared with us today. People have experienced lovely emotions and insights, and I've shed a couple of tears myself as well. So, this has been amazing, and this is beautiful outpouring of appreciation for you.
Thank you. You're going to get me going now. Okay, my friends. Right. So, moving on. To the most powerful words. So, first of all, I need to thank you all for showing up. I need to thank those of you who are watching on replay for taking the time. I need to thank you, Kate, for being my wingman, wing girl. Couldn't have done it without you, because there's no way I could keep focused. And most of all, just thank you for making the time, effort, and energy that's gone into putting this together worthwhile. And I also give thanks to the impulses which go through me from my own soul that guide me to show up in ways that seem to be meaningful. So beyond that, before I lose it completely, may all your hopes and dreams come true in 2022. You have the tools, you have this recording, you have as much connection as you would like. And ultimately, I hope we stay connected and we meet again very soon along this amazing experience called life. So apart from that, Kate, if there's anything else I need to pay attention to?
I know that you will be reading all of these comments afterwards. There are no more questions that I've seen, but just more love.
Oh, thank you. I really, truly am, and I'm completely bowled over. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your lovely comments. And, onward into our wow, and onward into the hope that will guide us forward. So I'm going to say thank you so much. I'm going to stop my share and say hello. I can see you all now. Yay. Woo-hoo. Brilliant. And thank you so much. I can't see you all. I can only see one screen's worth, but it's great to see you. And thank you so much for being here, everybody. Thank you again, Kate. And I'm going to render this recording now, and I will get it to you for tomorrow morning, for Sunday morning. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Anna-Louise.
Thank you, Kate. Bye.
Love.
Bye.